excited about what God is doing over there. We're, because of the Midsporn Study Center being totally like rocketed out, you'll see pictures, how that building is toast, and it's going to be condemned, it's going to be torn down. It takes a long time, because of the bureaucracy and the, just like permits and building and destruction, demolition permits and all that. And there's multiple different like Jewish Israeli international agencies and local Israeli agencies involved in the land. And there's this big metal structure that we call the dinosaur, because it seems like this strangely designed, very absolute, it serves no purpose, doesn't give shade. Nobody knows what it's supposed to do. I think it should be torn down and used for something else, right? But it's a good spot to look down into Lebanon and see what the IDF did to the villages next to us. Had to happen. Down below, there's a soldiers' memorial dedicated to various, not even branches, but like units and, I don't know how to describe it, groups within the military. And there's an olive tree in the middle. It's a very neat memorial to those that have fallen throughout, various wars. And up above, there's the Study and Education Center, which is going to have to be torn down. And, standing inside, the Israelis have they have cameras and technology working there all the time. And in the midst of the mess, there's a big mess of broken glass and chairs, and all the windows are out. And you could see where, because the windows were out, and remember the joke, don't worry, our windows are bulletproof, but the bad news is our enemy doesn't shoot at us with bullets, they shoot with rockets, ha ha ha. So, but you could see where a rocket sailed through the big open windows and went through the back wall. Remember the resin chairs, like the extra ones you would stack up in the back, and sizzled through a stack of chairs and went through the wall and punched through and came out the other side, and not sure where it went after that. So that's up top, the destroyed lecture hall. And then down below is our prayer site. And you can see on the videos there, and I'm just going to keep encouraging you, Telegram, Instagram, etc., YouTube. You can see the videos. And our prayer site, I always think of, Danny and Christine, because we were there together the day putting in the glass. Remember putting in the glass windows? Well, those are all shot out. And then there's bullet pockmarks up at the side of our little cement structure. And we're gonna leave those because they make us look tough. Bullets were involved. And but the signs need to be replaced. And it's interesting because the dinosaur, the metal structure, is owned by a different Jewish organization, Israel International Aid Agency, or Jewish something fund agency, not sure. The Study and Education Center is owned by somebody, the kibbutz in conjunction. So it gets complicated, and it's like one of those things where it's like, well, you can't touch that because that's not ours, right? You can't build there, you can't take it down, you can't paint it because it's not ours. But the good news is that our prayer site, in our little amphitheater, is so close to the Sykes-Picot 1917 agreement of separation that technically it's still in Lebanon, actually. So, I don't know, to me that's funny. So, but I put out in the newsletter, I believe, that to kind of redo everything that we need, the roof and all that, the glass and signs, and the signs I have made here in America and brought over. Remember, there's scriptures in about 15 different languages, and have those made here and bring over. And altogether, I'm asking God for $2,500 for that. And I used to, as a pastor, I used to worry about piping up and speaking up about dollar signs and amounts, because I felt like, oh man, I don't, it's awkward, and then I just grew up, and I realized, what, Carl, it's not about you. It's the Lord. He owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. All he needs is one person to just touch their heart And they're just like, easy peasy. I've got that, you know. And so for those of you that feel like, oh, I got that, we also need a food trailer for 10,000 or 15,000, okay? If you're like in that, I got that mode. Because, you know, the place where everybody bought ice creams and waters and coffees and whatever else they could buy and the T-shirts and baseball hats, that's all gone. And when tourists and pilgrims come to our site again, they do need something. They need to be able to buy a water. And so what we're going to do before we, you know, get our food trailer is I said, well, just put out a cooler. Put ice there. Put a bunch of waters in there and just sell the waters at, you know, whatever, you know, just so that nobody's going to come up there and say, I couldn't even get water, you know. And so people need to buy a little, something to hold them over, a bag of cookies, an ice cream, a water, a soda. Some people won't drink water. They need a Coke, you know. And junkies, but coffee's different. But anyway, and they need bathrooms, you know. We do have bathrooms. They're not destroyed. But anyway, it goes on and on. But but the thing is, though, is I told the kibbutz leadership, and I'm just including you because I expect you to pray. And the teaching is actually, you'll see it. It kind of dovetails with this whole thing about, you know, the Lord leading you and guiding you regarding giving. But very simply, in conversations, multiple good meetings with the leadership there on the kibbutz, I told them, well, Zechariah's hope will take over the tourist, you know, coming down below to our area, because there's nothing, you can't go up top, you know, it's a hazard, it's a danger zone in terms of, you know, just walking over glass and, you know, nails and all that. And but down below, we'll give the lecture. Buddy will give a shortened version. Buddy, I know you're listening. A much shorter version. Take it from me about much shorter versions. I know what I'm talking about. And of the strategic lecture. And, of course, Natalie will manage, and then Betzalel will schedule, you know, or invite, or what do you call it, customer relations with all these foreign groups, and, you know, bring the, you know, and we'll all do our parts, we'll all do our job, and then Z Hope will give also our presentation to, you know, the tourists and the Christian groups and stuff like that, because they don't let us speak to, you know, like Jewish political action committees from the United States, you know, and sometimes there's a conservative group, sometimes there's a liberal group, sometimes there's a military delegation, sometimes there's firefighters from Europe, sometimes there's ambassadors from the European Union and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so we give our lecture, Buddy gives his lecture. It's all going to be down at the prayer site. And basically, the kibbutz is going to be doing their part, but Z Hope is kind of just has a lot more to do, and we've expanded. So we need volunteers all the time. And like I've been telling people in Idaho and Oregon and other places, Canada, is you don't need to wait for an organized tour, a group. You could go online, fill out the interest form, talk to me, and you could go there. We'll have somebody pick you up at the airport. We have 2 apartments now, and we need, and all of this is totally by faith, you know. And it's kind. Remember when Jesus said in Revelation chapter 3, he says, "I've set before you an open door that no man can shut." And what he said to that church of Philadelphia, he says, "You have a little strength," and we check that box. We totally check that box, whether it be numerically or financially, physically, you know. We check that box for a little strength. And then it says, "But you have held fast to my word," which is the word, "and you have not denied my name," meaning you have, you know, you're representing Jesus, you know. And so So I pray that we check all those boxes very faithfully, but that's the church. When the Lord sets before them an open door, then it's our job to go through it and trust the Lord. You know, we're responsible. Yeah, we're good stewards and all that, but we need to trust the Lord. But He's met us so far, and He has done this for us, and we don't want to hang back because of fear. You know, you hang back for fear, and it's, you know, the Lord would say, what are you afraid of? You know, like I'm not going to provide, like I'm not going to take care of you. So anyway, please pray for that. And if anybody has